Hey guys, so what I want to share with you today is the answer to a question I get pretty much every day in my DMs and actually in person from my friends and colleagues. And that is some variation of the question, what is your favorite sunscreen? It's, what sunscreen do you recommend? I hate sunscreen. I can't find a sunscreen that doesn't burn my skin or run into my eyes, or, it doesn't blend. What do you recommend? And honestly, I'm trying different products all the time. So there are very, very many cases that, when I say that my favorite hyaluronic acid is the marine hyaluronics from The Ordinary. Sometimes I don't use that because I'm trying another hyaluronic acid serum, right? Testing things out. But when I'm constantly testing things out, if I stop testing out a product, I always revert back to something, right? So that's how I know that a particular product is my go-to, because that's exactly what I'm doing. When I'm done playing around, that's what I go to in the end. And so the answer to the question, what is my favorite sunscreen or what's my top sunscreen recommendation, would be this baby right here. I hope you can see it. It's Survival 30 by the high science brand NIOD. This is the sister brand of The Ordinary. It's the most expensive of all of The Ordinary brands. Of all of Decium's brands. Is this product particularly expensive? It's $30 for 30 ml. So that's 1 ounce. So $30 an ounce. I don't think that's prohibitively expensive, but perhaps for 1 ounce of sunscreen, it could be. But so there's several reasons why this is my go-to. Why this is the sunscreen product that I recommend all the time. But the great irony about this product is that I have to buy it illegally. Like, literally, I buy this over the internet and have it illegally shipped into the United States because it's not approved in the United States. There's several reasons why that could be the case, none of which have to do with anything that's wrong with the formula. So, as you probably know, sunscreens are classified as drugs in the US and are thus regulated by the FDA. So in order to bring a sunscreen to market, whether you're manufacturing in the United States or you're manufacturing outside the United States, whether you're a US brand or a European brand, it needs to go through a rigorous validation process through the FDA. And essentially what they need to know is they need proof that the sunscreen is going to protect the skin based on its labeling. So this is an SPF 30 or a PA+++. And so in order to claim that it's an SPF 30, it needs to offer at least an SPF 30 for UVB protection. And interestingly, I've developed quite a few sunscreen products over the course of my career. And that's not to say that I'm a product developer, but working on projects, working on sunscreen projects, I have quite a bit of firsthand knowledge about how the process works. So it takes about a year for a sunscreen to be validated or rejected by the FDA. It's a huge bureaucratic process. And when the testing comes back, you need to at least meet the 30 or 15 or 50 level of protection in order to claim that, right? But you can claim 30 even if the level of protection comes in over 30. So when I was at Kiehl's, I remember when we first introduced Abyssine cream with an SPF, it came back at, I want to say, SPF 37. We were wanting to claim SPF 30, and the testing came back at SPF 37, so we put SPF 37 on the package. I mean, why not? So this product, actually all of the sunscreen formulated survival products, there are 3. There's a 10, a 20, and a 30. This 30 actually came back with a rating of 33. So the sunscreen, the SPF protection in here from UVB rays is a 33, which I think is kind of funny. It just reminds me of that similar incident back in the days at Kiehl's. Is this going to stay? So I think what I want to express about this product, first and foremost, is that it's a dual protective product. The formula offers protection from UVA and UVB, so it offers sun protection, and it also offers antioxidant protection from from blue light, smog, pollution, and other like natural scavengers, like free radical scavengers that are hitting your skin internally, externally. So it is, in my opinion, this isn't a phrase that's employed for antioxidants, but when you talk about broad spectrum protection from UV, that means that it's offering protection from UVA and UVB rays, right? It's a broad spectrum form of protection. In terms of antioxidants, there are no ratings. There should be. I hope some government somewhere is working on that. I tend to doubt it. But I like to think that this product is offering broad spectrum antioxidant protection as well. The antioxidant potency in here is phenomenal. So again, there's this whole survival series. The Survival Zero naturally contains no sun protection whatsoever. So if you're going to use Survival Zero, and Survival Zero is available for sale in the United States, you're going to get all the potent antioxidant protection, and it's incumbent upon you to use UV protection on top of this, or you use this at night. So there's also Survival 10, 20, 30, and then the Zero. So I just want to quickly talk for a minute before I show you how the product works. But the antioxidant protection in here is unparalleled. I've never seen the kind of, like I said, broad spectrum antioxidant protection in any formula outside of this. I've never seen anything this incredibly well made and this incredibly potent. So the technologies that are in here that deliver that kind of umbrella antioxidant matrix are purified lutein, which is from, interestingly, the marigold flower. There are a whole slew of antioxidant technologies in here that are derived from nature, as opposed to being chemically, as opposed to having chemical origin, or synthetic origin in the lab. There's also yeast-derived superoxide dismutase. So I want to just read this to you quickly, but you might be aware of this product, okay? The superoxide dismutase saccharide mist. The SOD is kind of, superoxide dismutase is kind of difficult to comprehend unless you're like a scientist. I wish I had a guest scientist to sit here with me and explain how this actually works. So I'm just going to quickly read what NIOD's scientist said, and let's just pretend the NIOD scientist is here. Superoxide is the main reactive oxygen species in each cell, and SOD is the body's natural way of outcompeting the ongoing and very damaging effect of superoxide in cells. Arguably, SOD is the most important force against oxidation in the human body. Under direct UVB exposure, topical SOD was shown to reduce the look of additional inflammation by nearly 100%. Survival contains a form of SOD with extraordinary high activity level against the superoxide radical. So that's one of the key technologies in this formula, and as well as in this one. It goes a really long way toward protecting and protecting your skin health and defending against damage to your skin cells. There's fractionated melanin in here. There's pycnogenol. So pycnogenol is an antioxidant that is drawn from pine bark, and Deciem just introduced. I think it was in The Ordinary. Let me see. Yeah, this pycnogenol. This pycnogenol serum. And what's interesting about this product and this ingredient that's included in here is that it helps to kind of reboot vitamin C in your skin when you apply vitamin C. Oftentimes, like I've said many times, vitamin C is notoriously unstable. It's unstable in a formula, it's unstable when it hits air, it's unstable in your skin. So your skin needs to reap the benefits of the vitamin C before it breaks down completely. And they've tested pycnogenol, and apparently it has the ability to repair kind of the structure of the vitamin C or pull the vitamin C back to stability. So restabilize the vitamin C. So I think that's kind of an interesting technology. It's an interesting ingredient, and it's kind of cool that it's offered both independent of Survival and as part of the Survival antioxidant matrix. It also has tomato carotenoid complex. It has a prebiotic complex of gluco-oligosaccharides and what's called inulin to help rebalance the microbiome on your face and the good bacteria on your face to keep them in balance. It has deep sea algae, brown algae. Maybe that's not deep sea. Maybe the brown algae is floating on the surface. And what's called purified knotgrass, which I find hilarious. So there's just a slew of antioxidant technologies in Survival. Let me just, I do want to share, I can't stress enough the importance of sun protection. The sun's UV rays are responsible for something like 90%, maybe even higher, of skin aging. So if you're not using sun protection, you're not preventing damaging skin aging or skin aging damage properly. And so I've had this conversation with so many people so many times. I mean, it just like, I wish everybody would just stop for a second, acknowledge that as wonderful as the sun is, infusing our skin with vitamin D and giving us life, that it has its drawbacks, and understand that the most important anti-aging product you can use is an SPF, is a sunscreen formula. Number one. Everything else you're doing, if you're not using a sunscreen, is a complete waste of time. So I have a follower, and we had been going back and forth, and she finally admitted that, she's just asking me a ton of questions, and they're really good questions, and she's earnestly wanting to improve her skin health, and she's thinking that she's improving her skin health by using certain formulas or products that I recommend, and that's actually quite true. She's talked about vitamin C and niacinamide and, all of these ingredients that the skin loves, that give your skin nutrients and nourishment and antioxidant protection, and they brighten and they even your skin tone and all of that stuff. And, she's going like for a couple weeks, rebooting her AM and PM regimens, which I think is really admirable. But then she just fesses up that she doesn't use SPF. She doesn't use sunscreen at all. And she's not alone. I didn't ask where she lives, but I think that she lives in a foggy environment. I don't know, maybe Sweden or the UK or Seattle. And doesn't think that she needs to use sunscreen every single day. A lot of people think that unless they're going out to the beach, they don't need to use sunscreen. That is so dead wrong. If you can see sunlight through a window, through the clouds on a rainy day. If you can see sunlight, sunlight can see you, and the sun's UV rays are penetrating your skin. Now, obviously, on a really bright sunny day at 12 o'clock noon, and you're out and the sun is blazing, you're getting more UV rays penetrating your skin and potentially more damage if you're unprotected than on a cloudy day. So you need to use sunscreen all the time. When I was at Kiehl's, we had an expression from the founders that said to use sunscreen on seemingly sunless cloudy days. Sunless cloudy days. It's just nonsense that you wouldn't use sunscreen. And so I had to say, in response to her when she said that, look, I have to be honest with you. Everything that we've talked about, everything that you've done, all the products you've bought, all the effort you've put into understanding the product application, the order of application, all of that is nonsense. Like, don't even bother doing any of that if you're not going to wear sunscreen, because you're not preventing 90% of the, skin aging damage that's coming from the sun's rays. And so why bother doing all of that other stuff, all of that other reparative stuff, if you're just allowing more damage to happen as you go? So I got that out of the way. But on anytime that I talk about sunscreen on the blog, and so you're probably watching this on the blog, if you're watching it independently of the blog, please go to skincarma.com. That's Skincarma with a C.com, and check out the blog and scroll all the way down. And at the bottom of the blog page, you're going to find a picture of two women, Susan and Janine, and they are twins. They're identical twins. They were not separated at birth. I almost said they were separated at birth. They live separate lives, is what I want to say. I believe Susan lives in Florida. Janine lives in Ohio, and Susan's a sun worshiper. She's also a smoker. She doesn't take really good care of her skin. Janine, who lives in Ohio, isn't a smoker and does wear sunscreen and stays out of the sun as best she can. And so a couple of years ago, they did a study of these two women's faces because they look years apart. Susan looks like Janine's older sister. And so they did like a scientific analysis of their skin, and they discovered that Susan's skin is actually appears to be at a cellular level 10 years older than her identical sister Janine, who practices safer sun habits. So check that out at the bottom of the blog page. The links are there, so you can go through to the report and read the entire report. So it's kind of interesting. All right, so what's the big deal about the formula, aside from the technologies? So it's a mineral sunscreen formula. It's got both zinc oxide and titanium dioxide in it. But I think what's really interesting, and I didn't know this until NIOD educated me, is that titanium dioxide has a tendency to cause oxidation in the skin, which is the opposite of what you want, right? And that's why you use antioxidants. Oxidation is exactly what you're defending against. Oxidation is what's caused by smoke, pollution, stress, heat, hot air coming out of the air conditioner or whatever. And apparently titanium dioxide also has a tendency to cause oxidation in the skin. So they use a relatively low level of titanium dioxide. It's dispersed in a way that doesn't cause oxidation in the skin. So there's a combination of two mineral or physical sunscreens in here, with zinc oxide the leader. It also, I talked about how the formula is really runny like a serum. So it's a silicone technology that allows it to be this runny, but the formula just applies. It's super spreadable. It applies really easily. You see how quickly and easily it disperses but it also leaves, so I talked about how it's tinted, and NIOD has further educated me on the fact that it's actually not a tinted formula in the conventional sense that uses makeup pigments. So the color in the formula, I just want to get this right, is, wait, where is it? I'm not going to find it now, of course. But the color in the formula is not derived from any kind of dyes or anything like that. It's derived from the lutein and essentially the natural ingredients in the formula. So obviously you saw when I put this on my hand, this is not my skin tone, right? That is so not my skin tone. I have like these pink undertones, and that has nothing of the sort in it. So it's just interesting, really interesting to me. You see how easily blended it is, how easily it goes on. I mean, they really nailed it. Honest to God, they really nailed it. So, incredible antioxidant protection, super spreadability, no white cast for a mineral sunscreen, and a high level SPF 30. You know, I do want to also, I talk about this on the blog, but in that conversation with that one follower about SPF 30, so I finally convinced her that she needs to use a sunscreen or she should stop doing everything else she's doing. I mean, why even bother washing your face? You know, the grime that's on your face will defend against the sun's rays by deflecting the rays and preventing absorption. So don't even wash your face. But anyway, so the SPF factors, just so you know, SPF 10, if you're going to go that route and use a minimum amount of protection, SPF 10 blocks up to 90% of UVB rays, SPF 20 blocks up to 95%, and the SPF 30 blocks up to 97%. SPF 50, 60 blocks up to around 98%. So in other words, you're only getting 1% more benefit by doubling the SPF in your sunscreen. So SPF 30, to be quite honest, I used to use an SPF 50, but it's just not necessary. SPF 30 is the way to go, and they don't even make an SPF 50 in Survival. So you'll see that Survival Zero has a little bit, it's a darker hue. You see that? This is Survival Zero. So if you're looking to gain from all of the antioxidant protection in the Survival formulas, but you like are infatuated with your own SPF, that's fine. Pick up Survival Zero, layer that on, sorry, that was 30. Layer that on, and then apply your own sunscreen, and hopefully you're using at least an SPF 30. So that's it, guys. Lots of great information. Check out their product page. All the links are in the blog. Again, skincarma.com. You can link to each of the individual Survival products or the NIOD page through the blog. Check that out. And you know, I did show you that I am able to get kind of up close to my eyes, but of course, my go-to is my SkinCeuticals Physical Eye UV Defense SPF 50. So we're defending against 98% of UVB damage, UVB rays in the eye area with this baby. Check this out too. All right, that's it, guys. Have a good one. Please make sure you're using SPF even on cloudy, seemingly sunless days. Later.